Well, hi, welcome to My Favorite Mistake. I'm Mark Graven, and we are joined today by Trav Bell. As you'll hear and tell in a minute, he's coming to us from Australia. Travis, how are you today?
Good, Mark. Good. Stoked to be on, mate.
So let me tell a little bit about Trav here in terms of introductions. I think this is really interesting. He is a self-appointed bucket listologist. So we'll learn about that. He is a coach. He's a certified speaking professional. He's founder and CEO of his coaching firm that focuses on bucket lists. He previously founded and franchised a chain of personal training studios across Australia. So from all of that experience, Trav, if you could narrow it down, what would you say is your favorite mistake?
Favorite learning opportunity, is that
Yeah,
what we call it?
yeah,
Probably, you know what? I've kind of, taught this to a lot of other entrepreneurs and a lot of people I've spoken in front of. Yeah, my favorite mistake is actually making decisions out of ego, business decisions out of ego, rather than logical decisions. So what I mean by that, when I like you said in the introduction, I founded and franchised a chain of personal training studio. I started with one client, ended up doing over 2 million personal training sessions, tens of thousands of clients across Australia, nearly 300 personal trainers, under that umbrella in that business. And we were the first to franchise personal training in Australia. So, it was kind of, and it was because, this wasn't a mistake though, this is because someone said, you can't franchise that. And I just said, you know what, I'll take that as inspiration.
sure.
As
Fair
an FU
mistake,
moment,
maybe.
as an FU moment.
Yeah.
But we did, and we had a chain of them. And but with that being said, I this was part of my demise as well, because I was so ego driven to be the best and be the biggest and be the most scaled, that I made stupid decisions. We had to go out and, the typical model was about a 200 square meter, don't know what that is in feet, square meter personal training studio. So I overpaid for some lease, corporate leases, just to set up in a spot, because I knew that competitors were trying to get in there and do the thing. And I bought businesses and rebranded them that I shouldn't have. And as a result, that cost me years, let alone a lot of money. So ego-based decisions is my biggest mistake. And I'd like to think that I've kind of parked that. Pops up occasionally, but I've parked that to look at the numbers better.
Yeah.
And to remove emotion from a lot of business decisions.
Yeah. I mean, was there a particular moment where this started clicking, to realize there was this pattern, or at least this had happened enough for you to then realize and think, okay, I've got to try to stop doing this?
Oh, pain is a great motivator, isn't it? So when you're way behind on your tax bill, and you're 3 months behind on your corporate rent, on your lease, and we held a lot of head leases for our franchisees. And when you've got legal troubles, that's when you realise, hey, dickhead, maybe you should have done this a different way. So I am my own worst critic. I mean, my tattoo, and I think I got this around the time of all this shit going down, was if it is to be, it is up to me. So if you're listening to this, not watching, you'll, on my arm, on my right forearm, I've got a tattoo. If it is to be, it is up to me, which my old swimming coach sort of imparted upon me, and or should I say imprinted on me when I was younger. And I guess it was at that time where I really took responsibility, ownership, and did it from a smart place rather than an emotional place. And then that's when I sought coaches. That's when I really kind of got out of my own way. And I think the hardest thing, mate, I think to ask, or to ask when you're in trouble as an entrepreneur, is, please, I don't know everything. Can you please help me?
Yeah.
As an entrepreneur, we're meant to be Superman apparently, and know it all, and the ego, and but the best business owners in the world, the best business, entrepreneurs in the world, are the ones that ask for the most help and are open to being helped. So at that point in time, I knew that I had to be open to be coached, if you know what I mean.
Yeah.
Coachable.
Yeah, I mean, what you're saying there reminds me of a chance I had once to interview a psychologist who wrote a book about mastering fear. And the thing he pointed out, he says little children are very good about asking for help when they're scared. But then as we are raised, and whether it's school or parenting or society, guess what? We are taught asking for help is a bad thing. And so what he's learned is the best thing for an adult to do is just simply to say, I need help. And to not be afraid, maybe easier said than done, to ask for that coaching or that support in some way.
But where were you? So where were you 20 years ago when I needed that book or that piece of advice, mate?
I don't think I knew that then, and I don't think that book was written then. But
it would have saved me a truckload of money and probably grey hairs and all the rest. So thank you very much.
Well, but I mean, I'm fascinated by you basically said coaches need coaches, or even back when you were a personal trainer, did you still work with a personal trainer for different reasons? What are the benefits of, in either context, business or training, a coach having a coach?
Yeah, if there's ever a gap, between where you are and where you want to be, and you've tried and tested it yourself and trying to close that gap yourself, and it's not closing, whatever area of your life, it's time to outsource, right? Trying to get some expert help in, whether it be a business coach, relationship coach, career, whatever it is, money, parent, health, whatever. I guess it was embedded in me quite early on that I've always been self-employed, so to always seek help from other people. And I reckon I've been open more and more as I've got older, and as I've done more business. I've become more and more open to actually getting help, believe it or not. So, that help might come in the form of actually getting a coach, employing the services for a coach for an extended period of time, going to a seminar, getting involved in a course, even to a lesser extent, reading a book. But yeah, I'm continually wanting to grow and continually wanting to be better, of course. So I don't know everything, and that's the ego talk. Look, I don't know everything, and I'll never know everything. And the coaches and the information, so there's ebbs and flows with the current goal at play, right?
Yeah.
And with different areas of life. If you're going to be a coach, of which I'm an executive coach, like I coach founders, CEOs, C-level execs, and obviously other entrepreneurs. And I also do a lot of speaking. Now I've got I've had speaking coaches. I've had coaches to help me coach.
Yeah.
I've had life coaches. I've had business coaches. I've had an author coach. I've had a like all sorts of different coaches. And if you look at the current climate of high-performing people, they've got a team of coaches, around them. Quarterbacks have got a crazy amount of coaches. Tiger Woods, they probably could have been coached differently, but Tiger, where they've all got different, a team of coaches. CEOs now have got a whole bunch of coaches around them and advisors. But and I think that's how coaching has evolved now.
Yeah.
And the good thing about being a coach is you can really carve out your own niche.
Yeah.
When it comes to being a coach as well, I only concentrate on leadership. I only concentrate on helping founders. I only concentrate on, life. A life coach is way too general these days.
Sure.
I'm a coach to this specific group for this specific, want and need, and you can go deep on that niche for the rest of your coaching life if you really market it well. So. I think we live in a time where we're a lot more open to having a coach. That being said, it can be very, very confusing. It's very, very noisy. In the last 6 months, every single bloody business has gone online, so it's very noisy. We live in a world of infobesity. We're all suffering from infobesity. There's so much information out there. It's hard to decrease the noise and increase the focus with all these distractions and campaigns and click funnels and blah, 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 blah.
Yeah.
It's like, it's hard to find, I reckon, the realness, the real kind of, I've worked hard to try and find the people that it's become harder and harder with it getting more and more noisy, but trying to find those people, those role models, those coaches, those programs, and then basically find them and then unsubscribe, so to speak, mentally and physically, unsubscribe from the rest and just zero in for 90 days, give it a 90-day project and then off you go and just do what they say or do what that coach recommends, So that's one of the things that I've certainly evolved over the last 2 to 3 years, is being able to, if I'll analyze every quarter and I'll go, okay, where are my gaps in whatever?
Mm-hmm.
And then go, okay, 90-day project, right? 90-day project rather than a year or 5 years or any crap like that. 90-day project.
Yeah.
I'm here and I want to be here. There's the gap. I'm a 5 out of 10 at the moment. I want to close the 5 out and get it closer to 10. Who's the best person for the job to help me get there so I can straight line it versus trying to do this myself? Yeah. If I've got to pay, fair enough. But we'll see. So it zeroes in. And then I literally unfollow, unsubscribe everyone else.
Yeah. So slimming down, I have not heard that word, infobesity. So instead of a personal trainer to help you slim down, there are other approaches we could take to slim down that information intake.
Yeah. One of the things that I coach people, I coach my one-on-one coaches, clients, in is actually decreasing the noise, decreasing switching off notifications on their phone, switching off the subscriptions that's coming into their email. And that distraction muscle is so highly tuned within us now that this thing has killed the productivity. Yeah. And I did this with a client the other day. I said, switch off, switch off your notifications. Just do it for me for a week. And she just come back a week later and she, oh my God.
Yes.
Tweets, Instagrams, Facebook, messaging, text, emails. It's like, it's just going ping, 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 flat out. Yeah. And I said, just what's life like just after a week of doing that? She goes, I've got so much more bandwidth. Yeah. I've got so much more headspace and I'm not getting, because if you task switch, we waste 23 to 35% of our day, task switching. So what that means is you get distracted. It takes you something like half an hour on average, or 20 minutes to half an hour, or 35% of your day to get back to the original task. That's why open plan offices have killed productivity, because everyone's getting distracted. And now the headphones in this is back in the day when we used to have offices. We were working. I
remember.
Back in the day. Remember those days when we used to fly in planes? Yeah. But yeah, that's basically the earbuds are the new cubicles. Mm-hmm. Within offices, they're basically telling everyone, piss off, don't talk to me. And so productivity, and I know a lot of people that work in open plan offices, there's nothing even going on. It's just
it's a signal. Yeah. I'm with you. I am very, very selective. I've probably turned off 90 or 95% of the alerts that come through on my phone. I'll tell you one thing I did about a week ago. I deleted I'd already put these apps in a folder called time wasters, trying to send myself a signal. I deleted, not my accounts, but I just deleted the apps for Twitter, LinkedIn, and Facebook from my phone. Yeah. I just did not need that much information of different types coming in. It was a distraction, or I distracted myself by having it so readily available. Wake up in the morning, let me go check my social media. No, I could do it on my computer now, but it's harder to get to.
So it's interesting that you left TikTok.
Yeah, I don't use TikTok.
Oh, whatever, mate. Come on.
I'm too old for that. I don't know.
Sure.
I still have Instagram on the phone. I still like scrolling through pictures occasionally, but
Yeah, yeah. Look, here's the thing, like I think it's called the Eltridian waves or something like that. It's basically our attention span. And I don't get to talk about this much, but I'm a complete productivity hacker. I love getting nerdy as hell about this topic. And
Yeah, that's good.
I if you try and all the time management gurus that get shit done, all the Tim Ferriss, all the Brian Tracy, all the rest of them basically say, look, an hour and a half, that's what you've got, an hour and a half, 90-minute time chunks. Some say 45 minutes, some say an hour and a half. Right. So you try, this is a challenge for all your watchers and listeners. And I'm not very good at it,
Yeah.
but you try and not look at your phone for an hour and a half.
Yeah.
Right. Whilst you do something else.
Yeah.
Whilst you do a task. Let's say you put out a video for whatever, and you've got to shoot the video, you've got to edit it as good as you can, then post it up onto socials.
Yeah.
All right. That's a project for you today, or writing a blog post or whatever it might be. All right, just get that task done. That's the start and that's the finish of that particular task. There's a goal built into that. But you have a look at how many times you self-distract.
Yep.
And you go for your phone. Trying to train that muscle is super hard.
That's something I could work on. I'll admit.
Yeah, oh yeah. Oh no, I haven't got ADD. Bullshit. You go and do that, and you'll soon work out that, oh shit, we've all got it.
Yeah. So one thing I want to talk about your other work and your focus and passion as the bucket list guy. Where did that passion come from? Is it a mistake to not live life to the fullest? What inspired your focus on all this?
Well, long story short was I built up the personal training franchise, and things started to get on top of me, to be honest. And the biggest mistake was that actually compounded, and I had relationship issues. There was some legal stuff going on. Let some cancerous people into our network that did my head in, and that compounded on top, downward spiral. One thing led to another. I went through a mild case of depression, bout of depression. But instead of going on like heavy antidepressants, and I thought, antidepressants, I knew a few people that were on them and they were kind of, zombies or sleepwalking through their life. And I was like, that's just a Band-Aid fix. So I went, you know what, I'm going to sum up the courage. I'm going to go to, self-help. I'm going to go and get a coach, go and read the books and so I went to, if you put a seminar on that during that time, I would have bought it, run to the back of the room and upgraded easily. Yeah. I spent all my credit card levels, and but I sought coaches. I wanted to get to it was all personal development stuff. So
right.
Walked on fire, hugged it out and high-fived it with strangers on the weekends, and broke the boards, bent the arrows and the bars, all that sort of stuff, and sought out the gurus, and I wanted to get get to the root cause of what I was going through. So I wouldn't just put a Band-Aid over the top of it and hope for the best.
Right.
So I learned NLP, and I learned positive psychology, and I learned a bunch of other, kind of methodologies and counseling and all sorts of things and coaching. And then sort of at the end of it, a friend of mine at the time said, hey, why don't you teach this shit? And that actually helped me compartmentalize why I was there in the first place, and it justified all the money I'd spent. And then
right.
I went, yeah, that really helped, So I put on a 3-hour seminar. I nearly had to invite all the people that rocked up to that. And I packaged in everything that I've been learning and all my some stories from my entrepreneurial journey, about 40 people in the room. And it was about halfway through that I started sharing. This is about 10 years ago. I started sharing my list to do before I die. I always had one written down since I was 18.
Yeah.
And this is 10 years ago. So this is way before, the whole bucket list phenomenon. And I said, oh, who else has got one of these lists actually written down? and I quickly realised I was the only freak in the room. So I said, well, why do you get up in the morning? Why do you build your business? Why do you, why? What's inspiring you? Why do you want to do before you die? And it inspired the group. And then at the end of it, one of the girls who was in the audience said, hey, how's this list to do before you die stuff? It's like a bucket list. You're like the bucket list guy. And that night I went home, and registered the bucketlistguy.com. And I was on the Google machine, Mark, and I'm sure you can appreciate this being in business. I was like, who's like the Mac Daddy? Who's like the king of bucket lists in the world? Oh, look, no one. So I literally called myself the world's #1 bucket list expert because no one else was doing it.
Claimed it, yeah.
And I've been doing that ever since.
Nobody reached out to say, no, it's actually me.
No, I'm the bucket list. No. So, look, I talk about, dig a hole for yourself and then learn how to swim or whatever. Throw yourself in the deep water, learn how to swim. But, it's really congruent with who I am, and it really is a reflection of the whole bucket list philosophy that we've created and the different programs that we've been, sharing out around the world over the last 10 years, whether it be me via the stage, coaching one-to-many, or through we've got now certified bucket list coaches in 22 countries around the world now. So I play founder, CEO of that too. And so essentially it's a positive psychology message with this brand of bucket list over the top of it. And I built this to help me. I built this to help, hopefully make an impression, a lasting impression, or better the statistics of depression, anxiety, the overprescription of antidepressants, suicides, youth suicides, mental health in general. We've even got this thing now called the loneliness epidemic. It's a real thing, the adverse effect of social media. So I built this thing to go against those stats that are climbing, because I was one of them. And so, what we've, positive psychology, which is the foundation of what we teach, what I've always taught is basically the science of happiness. It's the psychology of happiness, how to help people experience more meaning, purpose, and fulfillment, and more gratitude in their life.
Yeah.
And so this is a reflection of that. And this is my value sort of played out in the world.
Yeah. So maybe a final question for you, Trav. I mean, during the pandemic, you mentioned loneliness. That's an issue for a lot of people. There are, it's a rough time for a lot of people. Do you find, generally speaking, is this a time where people's bucket list is growing because it's something helpful and positive to think about for when things get back to normal? Or is this a time when people are, where they can, knocking things off of that bucket list?
Both. Yeah, that's a really, really insightful question, because I've got to do a presentation this afternoon, and a virtual keynote presentation. So this hasn't stopped for me, and it's super weird, like doing a virtual keynote presentation when you're normally in front of 300 plus people, and so I've got to do my song and dance routine in front of the screen.
It's tough.
Awkward, but at the end of the day, it has, obviously for people who believe that bucket list is all about international travel and the 7 wonders of the world and that sort of thing, well, the bucket list is pretty short then. Yeah. But for others, like I did a TED talk a few years ago. It's called Life's Too Short by me, Trav Bell. And I'm about to release a book called the My Bucket List Blueprint. And in the TED talk, I unpacked this concept that I created called the My Bucket List Blueprint. It's a 12-letter acronym, 12-step system, which helps a person, extract and articulate a personally meaningful and holistic bucket list, right? Yeah. So it's more than just travel. So this gives people the tools, the opportunities to actually build out their list and be inspired by the list, no matter what is happening in their life. No matter whether it's Trump or COVID or the apocalypse or whatever. At the end of the day,
right.
It has helped be the light at the end of this weird COVID tunnel for a lot of people.
Yeah.
And I think it has inspired, and to be honest, it's helped people really connect. And we're doing a lot of programs at the moment for remote work teams. I've had companies call us up and say, we want to do something. We want to, because all of our team is suddenly out of the office. They're all working from home. We're actually worried about the mental health of some of them. We want to keep a sense of culture. We want to do one of your programs, which we call the Bucket List Life Plan, because we just want a positive excuse to bring everyone together and not talk about work. We want to talk about the life, because we don't want to lose anyone, and we want to help people, give people some tools. So the good thing about that is it's brought a lot of groups together, and plus I think what's happened is families now with lockdown, families connecting like never before. Maybe it's the big collective deep breath in and recalibration that we've all needed. And a lot of people have recalibrated on their jobs, on their careers, on their businesses. The benefit of that, they've innovated, adapted, said no, said yes to a lot of different choices over the last 6 to 8 months. People are now, I think, more involved. Maybe this is just the optimist in me, but people have reconnected with their community a lot more. And one thing I've been saying is, instead of international travel on your bucket list, be a tourist in your own hometown first. So people have taken up a lot of, different activities and hobbies and learning stuff online, everything else that they can do outside of the international travel they've done.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of upskilling, new skills being learned, lessons being learned. There's people. Well, I mean, us as a family, we've kind of taken up mountain biking. I was already doing it, but we've really got into that, and our family is stronger than ever now, thanks to COVID. And I'm stoked it happened. Not for the families, of course, that have suffered from COVID and blah blah blah. But at the end of the day, I know that that's a reflective statement of what's going on, certainly within a lot of families.
Yeah. Well, it's good and helpful. I'm sure it's healthy to find the positive out of all the bad that's happened. A positive for me, my wife and I have had more time together this year than in any of the 19 years that we've been married, because
there you go.
The constant travel.
That might be good and bad. Who knows?
For us, it's been good. So I am thankful for that, and happy for that time together. And as I was telling somebody last week, said, "How you doing?" He said, "Well, I'm COVID good." So we're count our blessings. Knock on wood. Got my health and a lot to look forward to. And bucket lists are, I guess, that's a powerful part of that, giving you something to look forward to and things to go and accomplish.
Look, it's a good time to do it. It's a good time to take time out of your life to work on your life. That's what we're really saying. And right around the world, we've opened up in, like this year, we've opened up in, I'm looking at a world map, we've opened in 4 new countries with Bucket List Coach. And it's like, there's a big need for it, because it concentrates mainly, our programs concentrate mainly on mental health and inspiring people, keeping people engaged in their life. And it has a, massive ripple effect into their families as well. So, it's an opportunity for people to put their own oxygen mask on first before they can go and help others.
That's well said. That's well put. So our guest has been Trav Bell, coming to us from Australia. This has been really fascinating. I would encourage people to go check out different websites, thebucketlistguide.com, bucketlistcoach.com, and tell us again the title of the book that's going to be coming out.
Yeah, it's called the My Bucket List Blueprint. So that should be out very, very soon, just before Christmas.
Yeah. Well, I hope people will check that out. I'll look for that and look forward to that being available. And there's one other thing, I watched some of the video that you had on your website, Trav, and one thing really stuck out to me. So maybe I'll throw this back at you and let you end on a final thought. You said too many people are dying at 40 and they're being buried at 80. I thought that was a powerful way of putting that. So I'll give you the last word to sort of elaborate on that thought.
Yeah, well, I mean, this message resonates with people who probably more north of 40. And look, at the end of the day, we all know that people are sleepwalking through their life. They're disengaged. They're on they're on Groundhog Day sort of thing. And people been living by default rather than by design. They've been existing and not living. And I want to wake people up before they get given a use by date. You know, a diagnosis, just like the movie. The movie, The Bucket List is shit because, and I've based my whole career on it, for God's sake. But it's shit because it's about two guys that get given a cancer diagnosis and then they write a bucket list. Yeah. I'm sorry, but that's too late, right? So that's why it's a shit movie. But at the end of the day, I want to wake people up before it's too late. And this is not just about ticking cool stuff off, ticking cool stuff off a list. It's really about how we reverse engineer every aspect of their life in order to make this stuff come to fruition. It's the growth of us on this journey towards these self-imposed destinations. But Mark, it's more about the person that exists on the other side. And that's the person that we don't know yet. That's what I want to get people curious and excited and amped up about. That's called our potential. That's
awesome. Last thing, let's see the tattoos on your hands, because I've kind of seen glimpses for the people.
Yeah. Branding 101 there, mate. There we go. I've even got that. Look at that. Here we go. The ticket before you. Look at that. Ticket before you kick it movement going on. So
ticket before you kick it. Yeah.
Kick it before you kick it. That's a bit extreme, the whole bucket list on the hand. Shit, that hurt. But anyway.
Well, Trav Bell, thank you so much for taking time out every day to join and share your perspectives here. Good luck with that virtual talk this afternoon.
Yeah, cool, Mark. Cheers, mate.
Take care.